Today we're taking a look at a clash of two top-tier factions, although they are both in land battles where they are relatively less powerful and also off-meta builds on both sides. Azazel is definitely not the meta these days. Sigvald is just so strong for what he offers, especially for Slaanesh, but Azazel is certainly very good. I mean, obviously flying, hits hard, lore of Slaanesh, and all that. This replay is from Coops. He's got Phantasmagoria as Quiescence, Demon Blade for that sweet Discourage, and Temptator, which is a pretty good damage resistance, melee reflection, kind of self-buff here. The Domineering Aura, of course. Yeah, Coops is also backing him up with plenty of Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, couple of OP Hellstriders, some Demonettes as well, supporting a Chaos War Shrine of Slaanesh here. We've also got, 4 Demonettes, including the Regiment Renown Exalted Demonettes, and then the Mirror Guard, so no Marauder Infantry, which is nice to see. It does have a couple of Hellstriders. These guys, to be honest, should be at least 50 to 100 cost more. Basically, what happened is they picked up 10% physical resistance and maybe some other minor stat adjustments when they redid the Mark of Slaanesh for the new DLC. But anyway, moving on over to the Vampire count side, we've got a Blood Dragon, which it feels odd to say is this guy is not meta. He might be actually in land battles. Very powerful Dragon Lord with Lore of Vampires, obviously. He's got Zombie Summons, Wind of Death, Invocation of Nehek, extra self-buff, Armor Piercing, Charge Bonus under Armor, Helm of Discord, an incredibly powerful AoE debuff item, and sort of anti-heroes for even more weapon strength on demand. The Zombie Dragon, of course, also comes with the Swarm of Flies, passive, -5 melee attack and an AoE, very nice. Rest of the build here, we've got some Blood Knights, appropriate enough with the Blood Dragon Lord. Some Sternsmen in the back, some Graveguard with Grey Weapons, couple of Skeleton Spears, looks like 3 Grey Weapon Graveguard plus the Sternsmen, 5 zombies up front. So nice breath attack already, just wrecking one unit of Demonettes, huge amount of HP damage. Of course, Slaanesh has a hard time sustaining through that kind of burst damage often, but the Demonettes, at the very least, their leadership will be able to hold out there. Should be able to carve through these zombies also fairly quickly. It's not the most efficient necessarily to just be charging Demonettes into the front of zombies, but there you go. Sometimes that's the situation you find yourself in, and certainly the Demonettes have high enough charge and damage to be able to cut through the zombies as long as they don't have too much healing support. There's no corpse carts or anything for the vampires here, but they do manage to catch one unit of Hellstriders just outright crushed under the hooves of the Blood Knights and the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord on his dragon here. Meanwhile, in the center, the infantry fight's going pretty decisively in Slaanesh's favor. Mirror Guard gets in combat. Azazel, if he hangs around by them, will get an extra 10 melee defense from their passive aura. But more Hellstriders getting caught up by Blood Knights here. This time, though, a host of Marauder Horsemen skirmishing, throwing some jabs, which will do a decent amount of damage, certainly. And the Blood Knights all of a sudden find themselves in a little bit of a vulnerable position. They're going to attempt to rear charge Bringers of Beguilement, which I don't hate the idea, but the way their models are all strung out, they get a terrible charge, Acquiescence, Fascination, and then also get enraged multiple different ways, so they can't pull away, and end up just losing their life fairly quickly. So not the best use case for Blood Knights there. They get dragged down at an alarming rate. Meanwhile, these other Demonettes also getting singled out by the Blood Dragon Lord, still holding out admirably, but just in general getting kind of dragged down by lots and lots of HP from zombies and graveguards and whatnot. But Slaanesh is maintaining the assault over on this side. Certainly the War Shrine going to be pumping out a lot of damage in big blob fights like this and sort of forcing the units to bunch up around it, which will then open avenues of rear charge for these Demonettes and other devastating flanker units. Azazel himself hanging around here. He's going to throw, looks like the army ability there, Narcissism, just to freeze the Blood Dragon in place. He still gets a decent breath attack down on those Hellstriders. I might have turned him around, maybe tried to throw that into the Mirror Guard here. There's a pretty good angle that he could toss into there. But anyway, the Hellstriders and the Marauder Horsemen are once again going to all team up here, and I'm surprised. I mean, I know that the Javelins of the Slaanesh Horsemen do a decent amount of armor piercing, but the focus fire here, 7 AP per Javelin, is doing a lot to these Blood Knights, and the physical resistance and, kind of decent stats of the Marauder Horsemen help them hold out against zombie summons and against the Blood Knights themselves in that great of numbers. Meanwhile, the Bringers of Beguilement just continue to collapse this pocket, and how cinematic is this? This sort of little ruin here in the mud, probably murdering my frame rates too. I know some of you guys have noticed some choppiness in my videos lately. I have continuing to try and improve the quality here. Since Immortal Empires is launched, I've noticed some frame rate issues that I'm trying to get to the bottom of without sacrificing too much quality. We'll get back to you on that front. Of course, the recording software is also an aspect of that as well. But anyway, yeah, the few Slaanesh units here holding out well, but a devastating Helm of Discord helps turn the tide against them. The fact that the vampire counts don't have a Mortis engine, though, in something like this fight, big blob fight like this, that would be draining the precious Slaanesh HP very quickly, and they certainly wouldn't be able to compete in a big blob like this. But the Slaanesh units did certainly bring the War Shrine, and that will kind of help even out that imbalance of HP. I mean, if you were to measure the raw HP of both armies, it'd be pretty alarming how far ahead Slaanesh, or sorry, the vampire counts would be over Slaanesh here. But anyway, the Bringers of Beguilement continuing to just grind it out here. Demonettes also fully surrounded, as is the War Shrine. The Marauder Horsemen managed to stay clear and now throw their javelins into the Blood Dragon, getting some decent focus, whilst Azazel, almost called him Sigvald, yeah, flying, not Sigvald, oof. There's some fancy attack animations here, spearing some some zombies. Wow, that's a very cool animation. I have to say, the animations for the New Lords have generally been very impressive. Another one gets dropped there, and summon zombies are just about done anyway. Looks like the Vampire Counts player actually going to throw in the towel. I'm not sure about that. Probably could have stayed the course, but granted, that, oh my goodness, 467 kills. Bringers of Beguilement showing their damage output, actually getting much more damage than the War Shrine, which does surprise me. And maybe if the game had gone on longer, the War Shrine would have carried in terms of damage value there. But very impressive performance for such a squishy unit, especially considering Blood Knights on the field. I will say Black Knights are super great against demons, especially squishy demons like Demonettes, because they have magic attacks and, you know, high shock damage with lances especially. They are a bit more expensive than they used to be, but I do think it's worth it to take, probably against Slaanesh, just because the, you know, reasonably cost-effective shock cavalry, low HP of Slaanesh, you can charge out those squishy units. But man, if you don't have the right tools, definitely can be very scary to deal with. Mirror Guard also kind of grinding it out till the end there. Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh, great missile damage and great utility in melee as well. Both the Hellstriders, despite facing down Blood Knights, managed to still pay for themselves, which is kind of one of the reasons why I think these guys should be 700 points. Even at that, they both would have been cost-effective, so it's not like it would really ruin it that much. Demonettes, a lot of kills, but generally struggle. It's more what I expected is for them to just get dragged down in great numbers. Zombies proved to be very cost-effective. Grave Guards, less so. I mean, you have to worry about maybe a heavy armor Slaanesh build here, but I do think it's maybe a little bit overkill on the great weapons. Shielded Graveguard are generally going to do most of what you need them to, and especially with the Blood Dragon providing you key AP against the few armored units you're likely to face, you just squeeze out maybe an extra couple units, maybe like a Corpse Cart for support, by, let's say, downgrading all of these to the shielded Graveguard, and then also maybe switching one of these Blood Knights out for a Black Knight, perhaps. Hard to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though, but I definitely think you want Corpse Cart, Mortis Engine, preferably both, in pretty much all matchups with the Vampire Counts these days, but perhaps I'm wrong on that. Let me know if you like this sort of content, though. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.